go. Hi guys, Katie here from CrossFit Bethesda. A little bit of daily mobility things that we're going to be going over. Today I'm going to go over some squat therapy things. So if you're joining us live and you'd like to get just moving, we're going to do some squat therapy drills. If you are watching this archived, these are a great way to improve your squat. These are the things that I've been doing to help myself. A little bit about me, my squatting. I realized a couple years ago that my stability, my hip stability, my pelvic stability was really off. My squats were good, but they just didn't feel right, and I'd fatigue a lot from them. So these are the things that I've been using over the last couple of years to really work on going from poor stability, a lot of misuse problems, a lot of compensation problems, to finding my glutes, firing my glutes, and now my squats are feeling a lot better, and the weight is slowly, of course it's never fast enough, but slowly starting to rise, and I'm pretty excited for what the next year is going to look like. So here's a couple things that I do, props that I have. I've got a 10-pound plate and I have a 15-pound dumbbell. I'm going to show you how you can use those to modify things. I also will use a PVC pipe to show, and a box. So just different objects that you have. It doesn't have to be any one of those. I'll even show you with a book. Things that you can do. So if you want to pause this now, grab a dumbbell, a plate, a book, a foam roller, a weighted box, do that, and then come on back. We'll get into that in a second. First thing I'm going to do, I've been kind of sitting and just working for a while, so this is my favorite, one of my favorite hip stability things. The reason is that you're stabilizing all the muscles in the pelvic region, and you're activating, you're stretching, and you're stabilizing them. So there's one thing, it means one thing to be able to get into a position. So a lot of people, not a lot, some people are hypermobile, and they have no problem finding their way into any position, but their body doesn't really know what to do once it gets there. So if you're in that case, it's not about getting more mobile and stretching more, but it's about finding the stability so you can actually be functional in that range of motion. So here's one thing I found helps a lot of people that I work with. I don't really have a name for this, so I'm just going to move through it. But if you think about the femur in the acetabulum, in the hip joint, you got this ball and socket joint, and it's moving around like this. So in that joint, I want the head of my femur to be in all of the places and be able to get to all the places with stability. So what am I going to do? I'm actually going to let's go with this leg first. So I'm going to raise, I'll stand on my right leg. I'm going to raise my left leg up as far as I can, finding my balance. Then I'm going to tip forward to like a warrior 3 stance. Then from here, some people will I have them stop here and then come back up. But if you're feeling good, from there you have that stability, you're going to hinge, tip open. So I'm going to stack my left hip on top of my right, come into a half moon position in yoga. If you fall over, you just kind of come back into it. Oops. And then we can close off. So come back to neutral, and then drop your left hip underneath your right. Find that position. This would be reverse half moon. Come back to neutral, and then stand up. Shake it out, and then I'm going to switch legs. So this time I'll raise my right leg up, stand on my left as high as I can, so I get the femur up as high as I can. Then I'll tip forward, find balance, open up, back to neutral, close it off, and fall down, trip down. I try to do that a couple times a day, a couple times throughout the day, and in a set I'm going to do usually like 3 of them on each side. So if you're following with me, I'm going to go ahead and do this 2 more times on each side. So I'll stand on my right leg, left leg comes up, back, open up, close off, back to neutral, stand. We'll go on the left leg, right leg up, back, open up, close off, back to neutral, and stand one more time on each side. So left leg up, come on back, open, and close, back to neutral, up, and last time, right leg up, back, open, close, neutral, and then stand up. One more thing you can do with this is find something to hold on to. I'm going to angle this differently. You can actually just find something to hold on to and come into this position, holding on, and then open and close. And just do reps in that position, trying to maintain a neutral spine, but now you took the balance piece out of it. I'll go 5 on one direction, I'll do 5 on the other leg. So all that movement is coming in that joint in your hip. It's not a spinal rotation, but it's all in the hip joint. After you do 5 of those, then I'll go back to the first leg, and then I'm going to actually drop my hip down. So I drop it down, and I lift back up. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Drop my hip down. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And shake it out. Sometimes what I also like to do then is in between my sets of things, I will do some squats and just kind of see how they're feeling. So come on down, come up, see if that changed anything, what you're feeling. Okay, next, 2 more parts to this. The next part, I like to pair releases, a release of some muscles with some activation. So the next one I like to pair together is releasing the inner thighs, the adductors. I like to do like a, not sure what we call this one either. Sometimes people call this a hockey stretch. Just sit back, so, or a frog stretch, that's what I call it. Often my toes point out, heels point in, I'm sitting back and down. People will kind of come up here just to take the tension off or the stretch off, but you want to make sure you keep your hips back. Hold this for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then a couple more seconds. Then we're going to stand up and do some squats with a counterweight, so holding a plate or an object in front of you. So after that, come up, grab my 10-pound plate or some kind of an object, and I'm just going to squat, bringing my weight back into my heels, keeping my neutral spine, knees out. I'll do usually 5 of these. Then sometimes I'll do it again, and I'll do up to 3 sets of those in a warm-up. One more thing I like to do, this one feels a little bit better when I have shoes on. You'll see why in a second. These are all things you don't need to have shoes on for. If you're inside, really can work either way. So the last thing I like to do is I'll find a calf stretch, and then we'll do some against the wall squat. So how do I do a calf stretch? I'm going to come up, use my dumbbell, just get a nice big stretch. Sometimes I can bend my knee too, stretch some of the muscles around your ankle, straighten out your leg, stretch the more superficial calf muscles. Some people that have trouble with the dorsiflexion, so the flexing of the ankle, this is going to be really good and helpful for you if that's limiting your squat position. Also, if you have a tendency to allow your calves, the muscles in your calves to take over for your core, so if you're lacking a core engagement, then sometimes the calves will have a tendency to take over. Doesn't feel so good. This is one way you can train it so that it's automatic instead of your body trying to compensate, but things will work in the right way. So, spend about 30 seconds on each leg with the calf stretches. We'll come over here to the wall, and we'll do some squats against the wall. Right now I'm about 6 inches away from the wall. I'm going to keep my hands in front. Make sure you're looking straight at the wall. Sometimes people will start doing this with their head. I want you looking right ahead. Hands can be at your chest or they can be over your head. And you're just going to squat down. Knees are going out, squatting down, and squeezing the glutes on the way up. If you can, move a little bit closer to the wall. So we'll come down, squeeze the bum, come on up. Find that place where you can't really get any closer. This is where you're going to work at. Another thing then, sets of 5 to 10. I find are best. And the thing too I want to show is the feet. A lot of times I'll do this, people will just put their feet out like that. That's not really going to help anything. So you're going to keep the feet almost parallel, maybe no more than 5 degrees. And this is where you're going to do your squat. So I can't really squat with the phone right there. But that's the idea. So don't let the feet flare out. I know that if you're doing these drills because you need to, your feet are going to want to be flaring out. Don't let them. That's the fight. Is trying to keep them in. If you want to add in a little bit of a pigeon pose or a stretch for some of those deeper external rotators, feel free to do that. If you think that your piriformis is really tight, there's no problem with trying to get that to loosen up a little bit before you come in and you do your sets of wall squats. So those are my tips. One more thing I'm going to end with is if you do not have, you watched me do some squats with the plate in front of me. If you don't have a plate, but you have a dumbbell, this will work too. Either holding it straight out, you can do good squats like that, or you could even goblet squat it, but I would start with keeping it as far away from your body, because that's going to help you force you to really engage your core. If you don't have a dumbbell, but you have a box, it's the same thing. Anything that weighs maybe anywhere between 3 and 10 pounds, 3 and 15 pounds that you can hold in front of you as that counterweight is what's going to help. Last thing, sometimes I'll have people actually start with a foam roller. Same exact thing. You're just holding this in front, and you're going to come down, doing some good squats. That's it for my squat therapy tips. If you've got questions, send us an email, info@crossfitbethesda.com, and one of our coaches will get back to you. Thanks so much.